At face value, this emerging shamanism is encouraging individuals to create media that explores untapped artistic crossovers and fresh ideas. However, at a deeper level, it is more than just wanting to be innovative or getting back to the roots of Korean identity. The emergence of shamanism and the occult in Korea is a result of deep dissatisfaction with the modern world of unjust economics, politics, and religion. In Korea, this feeling is described as unresolved Han. As described before, quote, a profound Korean cultural concept representing a deep collective feeling of unresolved sorrow, regret, injustice, and longing, end quote. Many Koreans are seeking to be freed from this Han, which is only intensified under the modern Korean state, in its politics and socio-economic landscape, and the deceitful beliefs of shamanism which promise to release individuals from this pain. The modern dystopia of South Korean work and economic culture is leading younger generations to a desire for escape, catapulting them into a search for higher meaning with explanations that satisfy both their practical and existential questions. They are looking for their world to be re-enchanted and to embrace the mystical aspects of life that go beyond the pursuit of wealth and fame. Shamanism is presented as one of these ways, a path to resist the powerful elite and those trying to impose their own ways of life and ideologies on Koreans, a pushback against the hundreds of years of mandated conformity. According to Sung Jae Lee in her article, The Resilience of Shamanistic Practices, a sociological analysis on modern Korean society, she states, quote, over decades, autocratic rule directed the Korean people's efforts to only one goal, achieving rapid economic advancement through relentless industrial modernization while sacrificing individual freedom and expression. A strictly organized and work-based culture emerged under autocratic rulers, with a singular drive for self-improvement through education and material gains. Over decades, the competitiveness of this culture has shaped modern Korean culture into one of the most intense and competitive in the world. The desire to show success in this society has led to phenomena such as the kimchi premium. The demand for luxury products in South Korea is so high that people are willing to pay a premium over and above the price of luxury products in other developed countries. The extreme competitiveness in Korean education culture is another example, in which children of all ages study for 12 hours every day, and the stress often leads to mental health issues, including a high rate of youth suicide. This resistance is expressed through increased interest in and association with the symbols of traditional shamanism, which undermine the rational understanding of success and failure in a society and economy of free market capitalism. End quote. With this economic and capitalist focus that leads to intense competition and a desire for success, shamans are pushed in the culture as mentors who offer help to individuals who are burnt out on the capitalist rat race. Shamans provide an escape to Koreans into a world that is outside the nihilistic, capitalistic reality currently being experienced, providing hope, answers, and easing the burden of personal responsibility for what will happen in the future. Koreans see shamanism as a way of subverting hierarchy, providing for the destitute, giving health and prosperity to those who are told that the draining career race of success and capitalism are of the utmost importance. Through shamanism, many are claiming that stress and competition melt away and disintegrate the hunt for status within society. But as mentioned before, this is nothing more than a temporary solution provided by the demonic to pull one deeper into the deception of occultism. In the past, hopes and anxieties were shared with religious leaders and the community, a form of confession that led to healing. Yet, with traditional organized religion fading in Korea, anxiety and stress are left unaddressed in the modern world. Specifically in South Korea, amid work-life balance challenges and the absence of a god or religious leaders to confide in, many are turning to fortune-telling and shamanism to gain certainty about their future. And with ease of access to shamans in the local community, or even online through social media, shamanism helps provide comfort in an ever-changing culture and economic landscape. This is seen through the shamanism economy. Fortune telling in South Korea is reaching a $3.7 billion business market, and the estimated number of shamans registered in South Korea has hit 400,000. This is about one shaman for every 130 people in South Korea. Google Trends also reflect this trend, with keywords like shaman and fortune telling doubling in South Korea within the last 5 years, with Koreans searching not just for healing, but as a way to predict the future and beat their competition within the business world. Yet despite their desire to beat the competition, many Koreans are waking up to the fact that capitalist wealth and fame leave them feeling empty. The chase for money and status never ends, and once one rival is beaten, there is an endless line to climb over. The race leaves them feeling anxious and uncertain about their future. And now there is a renewed search for meaning, a meta-modern movement towards re-enchanting one's reality. There is a quiet rebellion taking place through shamanism against materialism, facilitating a return to searching for satisfaction instead of fame, and connection instead of leadership. So why is Korea turning to shamanism? For younger generations, it is a form of rebellion, a form of rejecting institutionalized authorities and systems. Shamanism is a form of organized resistance to the globalization of Korean culture, with its relentless focus on economic and social competition under globalized capitalism. In shamanism, there is no dogma. It is individualistic, subjective, and free-flowing, which is refreshing to younger generations who have grown up with strict Confucian values and rigid, legalistic forms of evangelical Christianity introduced to South Korea by early Presbyterian and Methodist missionaries. Not only non-Christians, but Christians themselves are growing tired of the tropes of evangelical Protestantism in Korea that confuse Confucianism with Christianity. In South Korea, Protestantism is dying as a result of negative views associated with it. In Korea, Protestants are negatively associated with cult leaders, and this decline is not just a media phenomenon. It is the reality of the fact that Protestantism is dying in South Korea, with young people leaving Protestantism once they realized it was nothing more than a way of modernizing the Joseon dynasty. Protestantism within Korea has failed to bring the healing and justice sought by the Korean people. It has, in actuality, often only introduced more pain and abuse into the already hurting people. Once again, this pain of abuse within systems of politics and religion is being utilized by the demonic to drive people towards the false light of healing offered by shamanism, as a result of the failure of those who proclaim Christ. During the height of its popularity, Protestantism in Korea was a bastion of anti-communism. It fought back against the era's dictatorships, not only eliminating tyrannical behavior, but also contributing to a decline in the popularity of Confucian values and shamanic practices. Falling from grace, Korean Protestantism is now known as the Asphalt Right, mainly because of its constant protests against perceived cults and heresy hunting, its hatred towards people who disagree with them, and they have left a bitter flavor in the mouth of younger generations, leading the youth to associate Christianity with Protestantism, portraying them as senile, anti-scientific, and illogically dogmatic. Since the 1980s, the Protestant population has not grown. It has actually declined, often attributed to rigid Confucian church hierarchy and the self-centered ecclesiology of Protestant churches, which has led to a major drop in its reputation among younger generations. Scandals have sown doubt, prompting seekers to explore other, more transparent religious options. And with all the abuses, the older generations of Koreans continue to support the corrupt leaders because of their Confucian upbringing. Protestants who were once the leaders of Korean morality and society are now seen as embarrassing, and any association with the group brings shame to individuals, which is a major driving social factor in Korea for people to leave the church. This leaves even proclaiming Christians in a difficult situation, who are also turning elsewhere for comfort as a result of failure within Protestant churches. Christians in Korea make up part of the fortune-telling scene. Pairing these problems with the growing movement of Korean feminism, many young women in Korea are leaving the Protestant church and being embraced with open arms by the ancient, women-centric, shamanistic culture abandoned long ago. Shamanism is being reintroduced through media, not just as a niche practice appealing to a select few, but as a form of spiritual practice, as a replacement to the old systems, connected to Korea's traditional roots. The inclusivity, flexibility, and subjectivism of shamanism are appealing to non-religious individuals, which Korea is primed for, with the Korean non-religious population rising from 43% in 2004 to 63% in 2023, with people between the ages of 19 and 29 at 85% and those in their 30s 81%. Shamans are also being used as counselors for mental health in Korea, given that there is a stigma behind mental health treatment within Korean society. Young Koreans are participating in shamanism as a form of therapy or counseling, prominently finding shops that offer these services in places like Hyundai, Jeonju Hanok Village, and Daehakro, offering even multiple languages to foreign visitors who want to participate in the growing trend. According to culture critic Jung Deok-hyun, quote, "Shamans are no longer depicted the way they used to be. They are much more in tune with millennials and Generation Z, and in some ways, they come across as quite hip and stylish." End quote. It is not just entertainment for the younger generations. They have been trained through media to believe that through the shaman's connection to these occult forces, psychological counseling can be replaced with the shaman to talk about future possibilities. And this is not just a pop culture phenomenon. It has reached the academic ranks as well. A recent conference titled Shamanism and K-Culture was held at Seoul National University. During this meeting, several keynote speakers highlighted that shamanism in Korea is changing in response to the digital landscape. Now live streaming, recording, and remote participation have become major ways for individuals to participate in rituals and have been adapted to more individualistic concerns, including romantic relationships, social advancement, and individual ambition, all serving the purpose of consolation and meeting the basic human needs. For example, YouTube is being used as a social media and online streaming platform to bring shamanism to the masses. Many popular online shamans are performing rituals and tarot readings for their followers, for a cost of course, where Korean shamans summon gods through singing, dancing, and walking on blades, and they worship local deities like Mountain God, Great Spirit Grandmother, and Dragon Kings. In the same academic stream, in Northwest Seoul, the Museum of Shamanism is the founding site of the World Shamanism Forum. Shamans and those who study shamanism from around the world meet at the museum for festivals and exhibitions featuring shamanism from cultures such as India, Mongolia, and Siberia, drawing large crowds that gather around to hear the mysticism and rituals touted by local and international shaman practitioners. This museum has hosted notable speakers in the world of academic shamanism, such as Dr. Diana Riboli from Athens Pantheon University and the president of the International Society for Academic Research on Shamanism. In her speech, the president of this research institution said that shamanism must be reinterpreted so that it is, quote, fully expressing, interacting with, and evolving alongside the contemporary, end quote. With this observation of the growing trend of shamanism in the occult in Korea, driven by the dissatisfaction with the current world and a meta-modern initiative to re-enchant reality, the Korean people are prime targets for the occult invasion through media, for the primordial whisper that was preached to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The movies, television shows, and music of Korea have embraced shamanism as an entertainment identity and, through it, are distributing occult content to the world as a form of identity. The popularity of such content is outstanding. The dissatisfaction with modern capitalism, scientism, and organized religion in Korea is just a microcosm of what is happening around the world. People internationally now have a hunger for the unknown and the mysterious, that which modernist and postmodernist philosophies and worldviews have repressed for so long. As Stanford University professor Willius Harmans states, quote, "The growing interest in such areas as Eastern religious philosophies, yoga and meditation, channeling, etc., has made clear the public's dissatisfaction with the scientists' exclusive claim to valid truth-seeking." End quote. Shamanism will be pushed in the metamodern world as the golden standard of religious practice. Why is this? This neo-shamanism believes in spiritual forces and focuses only on lived experiences as sources of truth rather than dogmas or institutional practices. A form of mystified agnosticism. There is no central God, there is only creation. Mother Earth, of which we are all a part, constitutes us as a fragment of the divine, making humanity's spiritual goal the realization that they are all a part of the whole. They are connected to the one cosmic force of the universe. This is the divinity of all creation. This is no different from the concept of moksha, monism, or the Gnostic return to the pleroma. Whether it be shamanism, occultism, Hinduism, certain branches of Buddhism, or Gnosticism, the ultimate goal among them all, of course with narrative nuances, is to return to the One, to recognize that all is connected, all is one, that all is God. And it is this same serpentine theology being used as inspiration in South Korean media, a call for everyone to rediscover nature's divine status, including oneself, and to gain control over one's own destiny. Shamans offer a flexible way to explain the unexplainable and seemingly supernatural events in their lives and throughout the world. With shamanism being historically known for its subversive stance towards hierarchy and specializing in breaking normative patterns of truth, experience, and reality, K-culture has turned into a vehicle to push forth this religious philosophy of the age. Koreans have been told for too long who they are instead of actually discovering their identity. And metamodernism opens not only the door for them to pursue this adventure of re-enchantment, but also, from a Christian perspective, to allow the demonic forces of occultism to weave their oneness web of darkness to capture individuals who are suffering, promising them healing. What was once considered savage, uncivilized, occult, and demonic is now being embraced by Koreans as a way to access the world beyond our earth and connect with a higher power, and is now accessible across all forms of South Korean entertainment and media.